Quibi sounds like you got to go take a shit.
What is Quibi?
Exactly. Quibi is this thing started by John Katzenberg. He used to be one of the major people at Disney, or is it Pixar, whatever. Basically, he got a lot of his friends to invest a lot of these different companies like ABC, NBC, Disney. They invested, like all these different companies invested $1.8 billion to create a media platform that would basically offer like a mobile centric entertainment venue. So like, let's say you've got like 5 or 10 minutes, it would offer like a movie cut up into like 5 or 10 minute spurts that you would watch. Like let's say you're waiting at the bank, or you're waiting in line to go to you're waiting for your girlfriend to get out of the store. She's got to go pick something up, and it's like 20 minutes, and you just watch it in like 5-10 minute spurts, which is a good idea. It's just the problem is that they only offered it on mobile devices, and initially it was only on iPhone, and then they brought it over to other smartphones, like Android-based smartphones. And then finally, like 3 months after it started, like, oh yeah, we're offering it on uh, tablets and computers. And I'm like, the name alone, like I know what they were thinking. Oh, it's a Quibi, which is it's a portmanteau bastardization of Quick Bites. But Quibi sounds like a new word for going to go take a shit, you know, like someone who doesn't want to say they're going to take a shit. I got to go take a Quibi, you know. You're hanging out with your friend at the bar. He's like, yeah, man, I got to go take a Quibi. I'll be right back. You know.
So what does this program do again?
It offers little 10 minute, 5 to 10 minute little quick bites of entertainment.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
So it's like high quality TikTok then.
yeah, except it actually like they had some shit made by they had apparently they have Steven Spielberg on contract to make something for it. They have some shit with Liam Hemsworth in it. I mean, like here's the thing. They have a lot of money to bring some quality to it, but I'm like it was just very badly handled from the start, you know?
Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna be right back.
All right. So basically, yeah, Quibi is I don't know. It's an abject and total failure. Like I think when they first started, they had about I want to say like maybe 200, and like I think they were in the top 50, like number 25 of most downloaded Apple apps. And then by the end of it, it went down to like um, now they're like 105 after about 3 months. So it's not very well, you know. Like I, like I'm, like I don't have a degree in business, but I have taken some business courses, and one of the important things you learn about business is before you do anything, especially something that's going to cost a lot of money, you do market research. Um, and like there's been a lot of products where people did not do market research. There's been a lot of products where it feels like someone just threw something out there and then acted surprised that it became a thing. Um, well, I was talking about how there's all these products where it seems like no one did market research,
Yeah.
and they just threw it out there without like Google Stadia. Google Stadia sounds like Google had this technology. They're like, wow, this technology is really cool. Let's use it for something. And there was like no thoughts that went on, before they actually decided. They're like, well, we'll use it for gaming. They not realizing that when you launch a new gaming platform, you have to start out. I'm not saying that your launch lineup is indicative of whether or not it succeeds, because, like I said, the PlayStation did not have the best launch lineup. But over time, that was a juggernaut of a system.
Is that what we're gonna? Is that what we're gonna start talking about?
Yeah, I was using that as a segue. Yeah, segue. So what system do you want to start with first that had worst lineup that in your opinion? In your opinion.
In my opinion, I think the worst lineup for me
Hmm.
personally would have to be the GameCube.
Really?
Whereas, yeah, the only the only games I remember coming out at the time were Luigi's Mansion and I think Rogue Squadron was out.
Uh
Um,
See, that's where we're gonna have to diverge because I loved Rogue Squadron.
no, I mean those games were good. I didn't think the games were particularly bad. Oh yeah. And actually, maybe not the GameCube because there's Rogue Squadron and there was Super Smash Bros. Melee,
Was that a launch? Yeah, that was a launch title.
and then there was Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah, I think people have sour grapes about that game because they wanted a dedicated Mario game for the system.
Yeah,
And they got Luigi's Mansion, but Luigi's Mansion is not a bad game. It's just not what people wanted, for lack of a better term.
yeah,
It wasn't like, you know, it was a pleasant surprise because for a lot of people, that's like their favorite Luigi's Mansion is the first one.
yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. But I could, okay, all right. So the GameCube was the one where you're like, you know what, they're fucking up.
Uh, no, actually, I take that back. I think let's see. I'd say the Xbox and 360, like the early Xbox 360 and PS3 were actually bad because they didn't like everything. There was supposed to be this big leap, and everything just kind of looked like it was being dipped in plastic.
Everything just kind of fell
Remember?
apart.
Yeah, remember the early HD games? Like the early
Yeah,
they looked like everything was dipped in plastic.
yeah, they look like slightly better resolution SD games.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Actually, early HD games were just like the games are now, where they're like, yeah, you're gonna have all this graphical fidelity, and they just look slightly better than shit you already have. I mean, if you
I
have a
know.
decent gaming, if you have a decent like, the leap isn't so large where you're like, oh my god, this is amazing. We couldn't have done this last gen.
And the thing is, the biggest issue with actually a large majority of that generation was everything had a gray, green, brownish look to it because
Yeah.
again they couldn't use or they were afraid to use too much color.
Well, for some cases, it was technical limitations because it takes more processing power to process color. So they basically, it's kind of like how those early fifth gen games, especially those early PlayStation games, used fog, used
Hmm.
that eponymous fog to lower the amount of processing power they had to use in order to show off certain shit. So then they wouldn't. That was what they used. That's why Spyro the Dragon was such a anomaly because they were able to render a lot of that world without,
I know a lot of
fog.
I know there were at least two games that stood out. At least early games. Those not just because Call of Duty 2. I remember people being impressed by that because it was 360 at the time. The way that it was optimized, it seemed better than a lot of gaming PCs at the time.
Yeah.
And then Gears of War, you know, stood out at least for me because okay, so this is what your next gen is going to look like. And part of me was thinking, yeah, I played that game a lot. That was the one game I had for a while, and then that and Sonic the Disaster. I bought that one by mistake.
Sonic '06. You you felt cheated, didn't you? You were like, Sega lied to me on this one. Those
Twilight
bastards.
Princess was the better game.
What?
Is it the Twilight Princess was the better game? If you don't understand, because they were trying to compete with Twilight Princess.
Really?
No,
I
yeah, apparently.
I don't think they were. I think Sonic 06 was made because they were like, we got to, like, Sega was like, well, we got to put something out. And I think they were trying to get a game out for that system and a game out for like they were working on two games at the same time.
Yeah.
Because there was Sonic for the Wii, and then there was Sonic for Sonic 06. And like, I mean, I've said this before. Sega's mascot was never as good as Nintendo's mascots. I know some people will get angry with me about that, but
There's really, I don't really think there's anything that truly stood out until at least a year into the console life cycle.
which console, the Xbox or the
The
PlayStation?
Xbox and Sony seemed like it took a little longer, but I would say the Xbox, the new Gears of War came out at least within the first year of the console, and then there was the PS3 was even worse than the Xbox 360.
Well, the PS3 was bad because Sega. I mean, Sony pulled a Sega Saturn with the PS3, where they were like, we're gonna create a special architecture so that people will actually, put some effort into developing for this. And I mean, because basically, Sony. I mean, that's basically what happens with Sony. They get arrogant, right? Sony gets arrogant, and then they get smacked down,
See, here's the problem. It's like one of the things I've learned about technology, and I follow a lot of tech YouTubers. One of the things you learn about technology is, if it doesn't have to be needlessly difficult, then if you can make it easier, then make it easier.
Yeah.
For example, before the BIOS, before you had to do all your boot settings and CPU overclocking settings, all that other stuff, you had to tediously manage various different parts within the motherboard. So you'd have to move various different parts around the motherboard in order to get the BIOS to do what you wanted it to do. So there was absolutely there wasn't even a screen interface.
Yeah, so basically they created the kernel and all that type of stuff that would do a lot of that shit for you.
You could do it at a click of a button. So,
And that's good.
Yeah, and the thing is, right, with the PlayStation 3 is that they were hoping they were hoping that
Yes.
they were hoping that that their architecture, their processing, the cell processing would be a standard.
Yeah, so then they could basically license it out and make money off of it. And look, there's nothing wrong with that because Nintendo did the same thing with their ARM technology that they developed with ATE and ADI for the GameCube.
And not to mention some of the BS that they were pulling with the PS3 when they launched it. Remember Killzone 2?
Yeah. I mean, like,
that was the beginning of all of that.
I mean, really, like, here's what I'll say about the PlayStation 3. I did not get a PlayStation 3 at launch, not because I wasn't interested in it. It's just that shit was just too expensive. It was $599, and that was just, to me, that was just too much for a new console. Because really, once you get above $500, that's a PC.
Yeah.
And you can do a hell of a lot more with a PC than you can do with a. You can do a
Oh, go ahead.
now. I was gonna say you could do a hell of a lot more with a PC than you can do with a with a console. So, um, although maybe with these new PC-like consoles, I could be wrong, but that's just my own personal opinion. I know some people will disagree because everyone always has a fucking opinion about everything, no matter what. But that's my
So, I have probably a pretty other unpopular view. I think another bad launch was the Wii U, because all I remember when it came to the Wii U was retreads and ports.
yeah. But isn't that the Switch as well?
Yeah, you can definitely Switch. I just think I think Nintendo was a lot. They were, they came out stronger with the Switch, and the fact that they were willing to support it. So I think the more effort about launch than the Wii U.
Well, the Switch launched with a Legend of Zelda game. And it had been a long time since we had a new Legend of Zelda game. And anytime you launch a Nintendo console with a Legend of Zelda game, like the SNES launched with a Legend of Zelda game. Because within that year, you had Link to the Past, which, bar none, is one of the best Legend of Zelda games ever made. I think the N64 within the first year got Ocarina of Time. So it kind of launched with the N60 with the Legend of Zelda game. Basically, whenever Nintendo launches with a Legend of Zelda game, that console does really well. It might not. I'm not saying it's gonna win the console war, but Nintendo does not lose money on that console. The GameCube didn't launch with a Zelda. The Wii U didn't launch with a Zelda, and those consoles didn't do all that well. I mean, the GameCube made money. Now, don't get it twisted. I mean, the Wii U made money, but I'm gonna say something unpopular. Nintendo's launch lineups for their systems aren't great. But more often than not, they have at least one game that's a killer app. No matter it's a handheld or a console, you have at least one killer app. There's some console launches where there wasn't even a fucking killer app. Like the Xbox 360, if it didn't have Halo, none of those other games when that console launched were killer apps. Perfect Dark Zero was trash. Hell, even Conquer Live and Reloaded was shit. I mean, that was the start of Rare just being trash under Microsoft. Just absolute trash. We should have been like, nah, why are we supporting this company?
And then there was, what was the N64 launch like? No, did Mario 64 come out?
Let me see if I can remember. Yeah, it launched with Mario 64. Basically the N64 launched with I want to say Mario 64, Wave Race, forgot the rest of them. Like I said, Nintendo doesn't really have the best launch lineups, but they always have at least one killer app. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, they always have one game where it's like, okay, this game is just killing it, right? Like, even the Wii, which the Wii didn't launch with a well, it did, because it had Twilight Princess, but that was a port. But the Wii had the Virtual Console, which could kind of tide your ass over, because you could play your old shit for a very low amount of money,
All right, here's the launch lineup for at least the U.S. U.S. launched September 29th, 1996. Battle 64 and Super Mario 64. That's all you got.
Yeah, but I don't want to include just the games that came with it, because at this point, you can't really call the games that come out with a console day one as the launch games, because the PlayStation had a shitty launch, a shitty set of launch titles. It wasn't great. You had Ridge Racer, and I don't care what anyone says, that game is trash. I don't care who you are. Oh no, I like. Look, you might like Ridge Racer. That is not a good game. Battle Arena Toshinden. Eh.
But most people see when they see a launch lineup, they look at the day, the games that are going to come out day and day console.
Yeah,
That's usually what people judge.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, look, I'll be honest with you. That's not a huge bevy of games, but both of those games are fire.
Yeah.
Like,
obviously, we know Super 64 Mario. That was the first 3D game that got everybody to realize, oh wait, yeah, this 3D games can really be done, because early 3D games are pretty rough.
Yeah, Bubsy 3D is trash. Yeah, I said it. Bubsy 3D is trash. And then, even Crash Bandicoot, they were like, yeah, there's a 3D game. I'm like,
it's like a 2.5D.
Do you really want to say that? Really?
It isn't really 3D.
Not really. No, it wasn't. Not to mention it was made to compete against Donkey Kong Country. I'd say even if you compare it to what it was made to compete against, Donkey Kong Country, the Donkey Kong Country games are really fucking good. Like, are you sure you wanna compare that to, like, arguably one of the best platformers ever made?
Yeah.
That's my only real beef against Crash Bandicoot. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not like, oh my god, this is great. This is changing the game, Let's see what else. But like you said, yeah, the N64 didn't have a great lineup, but like I said, they had that killer app though.
Yeah.
Like Mario 64 held it down.
Yeah. So this was going back to the 360. So this was the launch lineup: Amp 3, Call of Duty 2, Dead or Alive 4, Elder Scrolls 4,
Oblivion, yeah.
Final Fantasy 11, Full Auto, Ghost Recon Advance, Warfighter, Gun, Cameo, Cameo, Elements of Power.
Yeah.
Madden NFL 6, NBA 2K6, NHL 2K6, The Outfit, Perfect Dark LE, which was, I've heard, complete and utter trash.
Yeah.
Project Gotham Racing.
It's pretty good.
Quake 4.
That's pretty good. Oh god.
Saints Row. Oh, that was a lot.
Yeah, it was their answer because at the time, GTA was exclusive to PlayStation at the time. So they were like, we need a GTA type game, and they made the first Saints Row, the first Saints Row is almost a 1-for-1 knockoff of GTA. The only difference is that you can create your own character in Saints Row, whereas in GTA you're playing the character that they made for you due to, the storyline and all that shit. And this is when GTA was a really big thing.
Yeah. Tony Hawk's American Wasteland and Hop Spin.
So, I mean, it's a nice lineup. It's not great because Final Fantasy XI is trash. Because it's a Final Fantasy MMO, and I don't know anyone who's a real Final Fantasy fan who wants a Final Fantasy MMO,
Yeah.
Like, why? Like, what? Like, why would I want to play a single-player RPG with other people? That makes no sense to me, but whatever. But hey, I mean, it's not a terrible lineup. It's just like, to me, I'm unimpressed, but, I'm a cynical person, so it's hard to impress me anyway.
Well, here's the PS3's launch lineup. This is covering the entire year, but it's our first year. So Resident Resistance Fall of Man. That was the. I remember that game because
That's a pretty good game.
that was considered the $600 game. Actually, if you want to get specific, it would be $660 plus tax. But that was the $600 game.
Yeah, but that's actually a pretty good game. It's not great, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, it looked pretty good at the time. Let's see, NBA 07, Genji, Days of the Blade. I've seen that game. That game looks.
Genji. It looks like a really nice PS2 game.
Yeah, yeah, it does.
I mean, it's fun to play. I've played it, but it looks like a really nice PS2 game. It doesn't look like. I mean, here's the thing. I hate saying this doesn't look next gen because what the fuck does next gen look like? You know, it's like when people say, "Well, do they look American?" Well, considering the country is a melting pot, what the fuck is an American supposed to look like?
Well, the thing is, people when people plop down 4 or 5, in this case, in the PS3, $600 for a console.
Yeah, they want to be blown out the water. Yeah, I get it. I get it. I mean, I felt the same way about the Switch. I'm like, yeah, okay, I spent $300 on this, plus, however much else I spent, but it's like I'm playing games. I'm playing ports of games that I already own. Well, that's what you're offering. I only bought like one port for the system, but like a lot of these games are just ports of shit that I already have.
Yeah,
I mean, color me for not being impressed with ports.
Genji, Days of Days of Blade, Blazing Angels.
Yes. What?
Blazing Angels. Some game called Blazing Angels.
Never heard of it. Which tells you how memorable it is when I'm an avid gamer and I've never heard of that game.
Yeah. Call of Duty 3, 64, Sports Fight Night Round 3.
I heard that's pretty good.
The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion.
Oh god, I had that game on PS3. It's not good.
It ran pretty terribly, I think.
Well, to be fair, Oblivion ran poorly on everything. It ran poorly on the Xbox. Well, no, it ran okay on the Xbox 360, but it ran like shit on the. Well, basically, all the Bethesda games ran poorly on the PS3. Some people say it's the cell architecture. I say it's the shitty. Bethesda can't program very well.
Yeah. And then there's Fear, Universal, Fear, Full Auto 2, Modern NFL 07, or wait.
Madden
NFL 07, what is that wrong? Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
That's a pretty good game. I mean, it's not impressive as a launch game, but the game is pretty good by itself.
Mobile Suit Gundam Crossfire. Oh man, if you want to see
trash.
Dumpster fire. If you want to go see a dumpster fire, go look that game up.
Well, can we be honest? Any licensed game that's based off of a anime property tends to be trash. Even now, they're not good. Like occasionally you'll get lucky and get one that's good, but most of the time it's just trash.
Yeah. That game, wow. There was absolutely. They were either rushed, or the people that were making that game just didn't care. It's like
maybe it's a combination of both.
I know the ground textures in that game look like something straight out of a PlayStation 1. And the water, every time you see the water, it looked like it was moving like some kind of metal sheet or something. It was bad. It was a bad. Oh man, I feel sorry for anybody who, wanted to get that game. And NBA 2K7, Need for Speed, then Need for Speed Carbon, NHL 2K7, Ridge Racer, of course, Sonic the Hedgehog. Oh man.
Yeah, Sonic 06. Yeah, that.
Sonic the Disaster.
Yeah, that game is really bad. Like Sonic 06 is so bad that it's like Sega still hasn't apologized for how bad that game is.
Yeah, they haven't brought up their apology yet.
You know,
Wow.
because I mean, really, most of the 3D Sonic games that Sega team is like really hyping up turn out to be bad.
They charged $60 for that nonsense. $60.
Yeah, they did,
Yeah.
and they're still doing it because Bethesda charged $60 for Fallout 76. That's not a $60 game.
Yeah.
That game is like maybe a $30 game, and I'm being charitable with 30. I'm being very like, well, you know, people gotta eat.
The hit detection was terrible. Everything was super floaty. The load times were abhorrent, embarrassing. Those load times.
Well, I mean, let's keep it real. Sonic 06 is just a bad game all around. I don't think the console it's on, because on every console it's on, it's pretty bad. Even the PC version is not good. That game is just overall bad.
You could probably finish the first half of Titanic before you get to the load screen.
I mean, it's not that long. It's just the problem with Sonic 06 is that the load screens are frequent. Like you'll go to a new section and it'll stop to load that section. It's like, what the, really?
Yeah. Why is this loading that section?
You know, I mean,
I feel like that was like a pre-alpha build that they sold to people, or maybe an alpha build.
I think they just wanted to get it out the door because they were like, we got to meet this deadline. We got to get this game out for our fiscal quarter. And they didn't care. Like, they were like, well, people are going to buy it anyway because they're Sonic fans.
Yeah.
You know, when you accept mediocrity, people get mad when I say this. Stop accepting mediocrity. But when you mention that, they get angry because, you know, if you accept mediocrity, if you don't expect better, you'll get crap. And they'll be happy with giving you crap. Like, yeah, we gave you some crap. What you gonna do about it?
Yeah.
What you trying to say? Basically.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, Tigerwoods PGA Tour 07.
I heard that's actually pretty good. If you like golf games. Like, I'm not a big golf game guy, but at least console golf games. I like the Camelot, you know, Nintendo golf games because they're more like RPGs with golf elements, but not like legitimate golf games.
Yeah. Tom Clancy, Rainbow Six Vegas.
That's pretty good, I heard.
I've heard good things about that game. Tony Hawk Project 8. United, Until Legends, Dark Kingdom.
Well, I think I'll just say, you mean Gauntlet?
That's it.
Yeah, you said United.
Oh, no. Until Legends, Dark Kingdom.
Really? Oh, okay, all right. I guess that's what it's called. Oh, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we can all agree that, you know, even though the PlayStation 3 had its issues, I think it had the better launch lineup for a 7th gen system. Between the Xbox 360 and the, I mean, because I know everyone's going to say, what about Halo? I never liked Gears of War. I never thought that was a good game. And I know some people are going to get mad when they hear that, but I've never been enamored or thought that Gears of War was a particularly good game. I think the character models are ugly. The gameplay is, not impressed. And I don't like the characters.
But what did you think of the Nintendo, the NES launch lineup?
I think it was not. I think in the grand scheme of things, it was not that good. But like I said, Nintendo doesn't have great launch lineups. Like I think the best you're gonna get is maybe the SNES. That's the best you're gonna get for a launch lineup from Nintendo. But Nintendo, even though they don't have, in my opinion, the greatest launch lineup, they always have a killer app. You know, like with the NES, they had Super Mario Brothers. Like, if all you had was Super Mario Brothers, that's still a really, if that's the only game you can play, you're still not in bad shape, you know? That's not. I mean, like, no kid who bought an NES and just had Super Mario Brothers was like, oh man, I got Super Mario Brothers for the next year. Because back in the day, like, you got games sparingly. Christmas, your birthday, and maybe if you did well in school, you got a game. You know?
Here's the Nintendo launch lineup. 10-yard flight, baseball, Cuckoo Land, Duck Hunt, which I remember.
You know, it came with the light gun, so you know you had to you had to have a peripheral. I get it.
Excite Bike, Golf.
Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
That's all you need. That's Gyromite, which came with it was a pack-in, yeah, because of Rob the Robot.
Hogan's Alley, Ice Climbers, Kung Fu, Match, Mac Rider, Pinball, Stack Up, Super Mario Bros.
Yeah.
Tennis, Wild, Gunman, Wrecking Crew. It's like only like 3 games that I've heard of.
Yeah, but here's the thing, okay? To someone in my age, like, okay, to us now, that doesn't seem like a great launch lineup. But you have to remember, people were coming out of Atari. And those games, even though I might not think they're really good, are way better than anything Atari had on their system. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, I'm not a big fan of 10-yard fight because it's a football game, I think. I'm not into Mock Rider. I've played it. I'm like, it's okay. But I mean, if you're coming off of the Atari, where you've got bips, you've got dots that don't look like shit, and going to pixels that actually look like something, then yeah, you know, I mean, that's a pretty good launch lineup. And plus, it had Super Mario Brothers, which, I mean, that game alone pretty much makes it worth having a worthwhile launch lineup because it's Super Mario Brothers. I mean, you know. But like I said, not my I mean, like I said, I think if you look at the Japanese launch of the NES, it was kind of shit because those games were like you didn't even have Super Mario Brothers at launch for that system for the Famicom in Japan.
Yeah.
So.
Here's some games from the
Super Nintendo.
Super Nintendo. Let's use this one. No, Super Mario World launched with the.
Yeah. It was a pack-in game.
Yeah.
I mean, really, like, here's the thing, man. It's not a great launch lineup, but they packed Super Mario World. That's like one of the best platformers of all time. So it's like, you didn't really need anything else for like a year. You were good. It's like, yeah, I'll just play Super Mario World. I'm good. I mean, if you have a good enough pack-in game, you're good. That's why the Switch and the Wii U are kind of like anomalies because the pack-in games, once they started adding pack-in games for the Switch and the Wii U, the pack-in game for the Switch is trash. Yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it. We play whatever that game is. That game where you're like snipper clips or whatever. I'm not impressed.
So, here's some of the games. There's Three Ninja Kicks, and then let's see, it was the seventh saga.
It's RPG.
ASP Airstrike Patrol.
It's a scrolling shooter.
And then ABC Monday Night Football.
Sports game.
Monsters.
These are launch titles. I didn't know All Real Monsters was a launch title for the SNES.
I don't think so. I'm looking at Wikipedia and kind of.
Yeah, I don't think I think All Real Monsters came out towards the end of the life cycle of the SNES, or at least in the mid tier of it.
Yeah.
Because it was a multi-tap game, and the multi-tap wasn't a big thing until later on in the system. Here, let me.
Yeah. So, Super Famicom, Super Mario World, F-Zero, Pilot Wings,
Yep.
City,
Mm-hmm.
and Gradius 3.
Yeah, I mean those are good. That's a good lineup though, because those are like. Here's the thing: it's not a large variety, but all those games are good.
F-Zero, Super Mario World, those are pretty good games.
Yeah, Gradius, that's good. I mean, I don't want to just go with what comes day in. I want to do like the first year because then you have a better representation of what what was in development and maybe couldn't have made it at the same time it launched. Like I think in the same year you got Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. You got I want to say Super Castlevania 4. You got Super R-Type. You got Super Adventure Island. These are all like really good games. Final Fight. I know people are like, oh, Final Fight on the SNES is not good. There's a level missing and there's a character missing. But I mean, hell, it's pretty good for what you get. Shit, you don't have to spend all your money on fucking quarters.
Yeah.
You know, and even though people don't want to admit that Cody and Guy basically play essentially the same, except one slightly faster than the other. Whoopee. You know, they want to act like there's that much of a difference between the two characters. There isn't.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. I mean, it's
So
what?
What about the Sega Genesis?
I mean, Sega had a decent launch, if I remember correctly. Here, let me look up what their launch. Because, like I said, I wasn't like the Sega Genesis came out in '89, and I didn't get my first console until I was 5, and that was in '91.
Did Super Mario All Stars come out in the first year too?
No, that came out later.
No,
Yeah, that was not a launch. That was not a launch title. It came out later. It came out like 4 or 5 years later. So here's it came out like in the mid life cycle, like 3 or 4 years in. Yeah. Okay, so here are the launch titles for the Sega Genesis. Alex Kidd and the Enchanted Castle. That game sucks. But, I mean, it's there, but it sucks. Altered Beast. It's a decent port of the arcade game. Ghouls and Ghosts, that's pretty good. Golden Axe, that's pretty good. Last Battle, meh. But some people like it. Space Harrier. Thunder Force 2, that's pretty good. Tommy Lasorda Baseball. It didn't even launch with Sonic the Hedgehog. So
that's crazy.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, like I really don't want to go with, you know, what comes with because like I said, I think Sonic the Hedgehog came out that year. They're the next year, like 1990 or something like that. So, I mean, eventually, you know, it got good.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a thing. Okay, so basically the launch title for the Sega Master System was Hang On and Safari Hunt and Snail Maze. Ugh. The Game Boy launch titles Alleyway, Baseball, Super Mario Land, Tennis, and Tetris.
Super Mario Land and Tetris were.
Yeah, that's all you need. You didn't need anything else. It's like alleyway. Man, I got Super Mario Land and Tetris. I'm good.
Yeah.
The Sega Genesis launched with Altered Beast. That was the pack-in game. Um, Last Battle, Super Harrier 2, Super Thunderblade, Thunder Force 2, Tommy Lasorda Baseball. Now, from what I heard, Space Harrier 2, Super Thunderblade, and Thunder Force are really good shooters. And Altered Beast, I'm not a big fan of, but I heard it's a pretty good port to the system, so it's not that bad. The TurboGrafx 16, its launch titles were Alien Crush, China Warrior, which is Kung Fu, Dungeon Explorer, Keith Courage, and Alpha Zone. That was the pack-in game. And then later they packed in Bonk, or Blazing Laser, I can't remember. The Legendary Axe, Power Golf, R-Type, Victory Run, and Vigilante. Yeah.
Here's the PlayStation launch.
All right.
Air Combat, Battle Arena, Toshinden, ESPN Extreme Games,
Yep.
NBA Jam Tournament Edition,
Kiliak, the DNA Imperative, NBA Jam Tournament Edition, Raiden Project, Rayman, Ridge Racer, Street Fighter the movie. It needs to be given an F just for Street Fighter the movie. Street Fighter the movie brings everything down. It's like, what, Street Fighter the movie? Fuck you.
And I have not heard good things about Battle Arena Toshinden.
I mean, it's not bad. It's just the sequel's better. Battle Arena Toshinden 2 is better, yeah. NBA Jam is pretty good, but, I mean, you know. I've never been a big Rayman fan. I know some people are gonna get mad. How dare you? Yeah, the launch titles for the N64 was just Pilot Wings and Super Mario 64.
Yeah.
I mean, but really, just for the fact that it has Super Mario 64, it's like, well, it is Super Mario 64.
Yeah.
The Sega
Dreamcast?
The Sega Dreamcast had a pretty good launch lineup. It had Arrow Wings, Air Force Delta, Blue Stringer, Expendable, Flag to Flag, House of the Dead 2, Hydro Thunder, Monaco Grand Prix 2, Mortal Kombat Gold, NFL 2K, NFL Blitz 2000, Pin Triathlon, Power Stone, Ready to Rumble Boxing, Sonic Adventure, Soul Calibur, Tokyo Extreme Racer, Trick Style, TNN Motorsports Hardcore Heat. Everything up there is fire except for TNN Motorsports Hardcore Heat.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's the sad thing about the Dreamcast is that, like, Sega had messed up with the 32X and the Sega CD. But the Dreamcast was a legitimately good console. It came with a modem, which is something that now we take for granted that your console comes with an ability to connect to the internet, but back then, you know, like that was really forward thinking. I'm not one of those people who defends the VMU because it was a good idea but really bad implementation. But you know, it is what it is. I wish the Dreamcast had actually been successful, and I wish Sega was still in the console market. Because even though I'm not a Sega fan, I think that the console market lost a really good competitor. Because I mean, I know a lot of people like Microsoft, but I don't think Microsoft is a worthy successor to the position that Sega held in gaming.
Yeah. Here's the Wii's launch lineup. Avatar: The Last Airbender, Call of Duty,
Shit.
Cars, Dragon Ball Z, Budokai Tenkaichi 2, Excite Truck, The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, GT Pro Series, Happy Feet, The Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess, Madden NFL 07, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, Monster 4x4 World Circuit, Need for Speed Carbon, Rampage Total Destruction, Rayman Rabbits, Red Steel, SpongeBob, SquarePants, Freaky Throw from Krusty Krab, Super Monkey Ball, Banana Blitz, Tony Hawk Downhill Jam, Trauma Center Second Opinion.
That is a good game.
Trauma Center.
Yeah, it's an enhanced port of the DS game, but it's so much easier to do surgery with the Wiimote and nunchuck than it is with the stylus.
Yeah, 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 that was a pretty lengthy lineup compared to some other stuff. But I mean, it wasn't like everything there was the greatest thing ever.
No, but it had variety. It had a little bit of everything. Plus, they had, like I said, Nintendo. They will always have that. They will always have a. When they launch with a killer app, the console will be okay.
Yeah.
Twilight
Princess.
Yeah, that's
that killer app.
Yeah. And Wii Sports. And Wii Sports. Don't forget Wii Sports.
Wii Sports was pretty big. It was a pretty big deal too.
I'll tell you right now, Wii Sports is still something fun to play, even now. Like just popping it in, just playing it. It holds up.
The funny thing about Twilight Princess is that since they knew they were making it for the Wii, they had a limited run of GameCube versions of that game. Because I didn't even know. I thought they just decided we're not going to make this for the GameCube. We're just going to put this on the Wii. That was my thought. And apparently, a few years later, I found out, they made GameCube versions. They just made a limited run of them.
Yeah.
Because they were released for the Wii.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, I've played both versions. I've played the GameCube version. I played the Wii version. I prefer the Wii version because I like the motion control. I know people are like, motion controls waggling around. Look, when motion controls are done well, they're good. All right? Keyword.
They don't always have to be, super accurate as long as, I don't know. I thought Nintendo was really the only company that really utilized
motion control well. Yeah.
Yeah,
well, I mean, because Nintendo didn't try to get too precise with it. Like, the reason motion control sucks is when you try to get too precise with it, where you're like, well, you'll be able to do this, this, and this. It's like, when you try to make it too precise, it messes it up, because you're playing a video game. You don't want it to be that precise,
Yeah, you don't want it to be that realistic.
Yeah. I mean, unless, you shouldn't go for precision unless you've got it down to where it works. Like, I don't know, if you're dealing with, what's it called? Something like like Red Steel 2. Red Steel 2 with the Wii Motion Plus works. Like, it really works. Like, they got it down. But, I mean, you get a game from Nintendo where it doesn't quite work all that well. Like, well, I would say Skyward Sword.
Yeah, that was, yeah, I think they spent way too much time, I just thought Skyward Sword was kind of boring. I fell off of it pretty quickly. I think I got to the part where you had to re-enter like this dark world, like certain something.
Yeah.
I just kind of got bored and fell off.
The thing for Skyward Sword for me is that, and you could kind of tell this is what happened a little bit, is that they got so much up their own ass with Motion Plus that other shit suffered because they were trying to get the motion control to work with that game. And I was like I don't think, I mean, Skyward Sword suffers, Breath of the Wild suffers from that too. They got so up their ass with that physics engine that it's like other shit was just suffered in the game. And I don't like that. So,
Now here are the Wii U launch titles: Assassin's Creed 3, Batman: Arkham City Armored Edition, Ben 10, Ben 10 game, Call of Duty Black Ops 2,
Yeah.
Chasing Aurora, Darksiders 2, Disney Epic Mickey 2, the Power of 2, ESPN's Sports Connection, FIFA Soccer 13, uh, Funky Barn, It's Farming, Game Party Champions, just stands for, Little Inferno, Madden NFL 13, Mass Effect 3, Special Edition, Mighty Switch Force, Hyperdrive Edition, Nano Assault Neo, NBA 2K13, New Super Mario Bros. U, Ninja Gaiden 3 Raid's Edge, Nintendo Land, Rabbit, Rabbids Land, Scribblenauts Ultimate, Sing Party, Skylanders Giants, Sonic All Stars Racing Transform,
Well,
Tank,
yeah, but
Tournament, but
but that's not a bad launch lineup though.
yeah, I guess when you look at it, there's a lot of stuff that came out. There's a lot of stuff that came out. Even some, I mean, Batman Arkham City Armored Edition, they added something new to the experience, so it wasn't like
Yeah.
what you were playing on the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3.
Yeah, but that was a legitimately good game. They added some extra content to it. I mean, I'm gonna keep it real. My favorite 2D Mario game thus far, like modern 2D Mario game, is New Super Mario Brothers Wii U. I think it's well designed. The characters, it's well designed. The levels are fun. It feels like an homage to the Mario games from back in the day, like your Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario World, something like that. I mean that's not a bad launch lineup. I mean, really, people are always like, well, the Wii U sucked. The Wii U didn't suck. What sucked was that Nintendo trusted third parties to support the Wii U. Like they supported the PS3 when the PS3 was failing miserably, and Nintendo doesn't get that type of. They don't get those types of bennies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because they don't pay to play like the other companies do.
Yeah, and it's in their interest to not have a Nintendo that's strong and can, actually compete.
Yeah, which I don't really completely understand why, because it's another platform that you can create an audience on when you want to expand your audience as much as possible. Or is this?
Yeah, but that makes sense, dude. Why are you trying to make sense?
Or isn't it this industry just a good old boys club? Is it just a good old boys club? Or I don't get. I just don't. The whole Wii U thing. I mean, it's not super baffling. I mean, Nintendo is screwing up in various areas as well as third parties.
Yeah.
They should have made it more clear. Maybe going with the name Wii U probably wasn't the best idea. But some of the things that were...
Normally I would agree with you, except one small problem, okay? Sony hasn't changed the fucking name of their PlayStation in years, and every single PlayStation has sold gangbusters. So if you have a product that sells gangbusters, which, I mean, you might talk shit about the Wii, but the Wii sold over 100 million. It's a very successful console. The Switch is at like 55, 56 million units sold at this point. It's a very successful console. So why would you not want to continue that name into the next console after that?
That's a good point. I just wish their marketing was a little clearer, because most people don't follow this stuff like we do. Didn't even know Nintendo had a new console out.
That's true.
Like,
so maybe that's on them not to. They didn't elaborate clearly what type of console, like that this was a new console or not just an add-on. But I mean, like I said, a lot of that was like the media basically trying to start shit because it was fun to shit on. Because remember when the Switch was first announced, all the third like no, I wouldn't say all, but a lot of the media people were trying to shit on it before it came out because they thought it was going to be just like the Wii U was, you know, before it came out because people like shitting on Nintendo. I don't know why. I don't know why it's you know, I don't know like why would you like here's the thing like shitting on Atari is fun because Atari has I mean they destroyed an entire industry. you know like if you destroy an entire industry I think you deserve a few jabs. I'm just saying, but I mean Nintendo, yeah, you might not like them, but I mean they did basically revive an entire fucking industry, so you should at least respect them. No, can't do that. So, oh well.
Yeah. I
So,
think, it just, part of it's kind of baffling when it comes to the media. Obviously, it is a good old boys club when it comes to the gaming industry, and as long as you're paying to play, should
well,
be
I mean,
accepted.
I think third parties want all the power. I don't know why third parties want all the power because here's the thing: as someone who owns a business, it sucks being the manager.
The thing about
It's
having they want all the power,
none of the
uh,
responsibility.
yeah, none of the responsibility.
Yeah, they want all the power. They want to pick winners and losers. But when things fuck up, oh well, it's not me. I didn't have anything to do with that.
Yeah, yeah, that's why you don't see any of these third parties developing a console of their own. They don't want
Well,
to take that kind of risk.
they tried with the 3DO and the Ouya and the Apple Pippin and you know the TurboGrafx 16,
Yeah,
aka the PC Engine.
yeah. And
I think the PC Engine is the most successful third-party console ever because it actually was able to do something. People forget the TurboGrafx 16 launched in I want to say 88. Here, let me look that up. TurboGrafx 16 launched in 89. Sorry, it launched in 89. It launched before the Genesis. Although the TurboGrafx 16 was not a 16-bit console. Despite its name.
yeah,
I know some people might get angry when they hear that, but it was not a 16-bit console. Don't let them, bullshit you with the marketing. But yeah,
no. Here is the PlayStation PlayStation 4's launch lineup: Angry Birds, Star Wars, Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag, Battlefield 4, Call of Duty, and Ghost, FIFA 4, Injustice, Gods Among Us, Ultimate Edition, Just Dance 2014, Killzone Shadowfall, Knack, 11 Marvel Superheroes, Madden NFL 25, NBA 2K14, Need for Speed Rivals, Skylanders, SWAT Force, Warframe, Zoo Tycoon, Zumba Fitness World Party.
that sounds boring, and I don't even. Well, I have a PS4, but I haven't even played it. I mean, I don't know, man.
No, the thing is, it just looks like some of these are just smaller indie games or indie light games and ports of games that were on the last
Yeah,
consoles. I know that Xbox One, I think, would be pretty much the
yeah,
same lineup.
yeah. See, that's the thing. It's not. I mean, launch lineups now. I just don't like ports of shit that I already own. unless you're doing something to substantially add to that port. Like I was watching a review for uh, not No More Heroes, Wonderful 101 remaster, right? That game was built to be played with with a gamepad. Like you need the second screen in order to really play that game properly, and it doesn't have that on the Switch. So it's like why would I want to play the inferior version of a game? Because I didn't want to play it on what it was meant to be played on.
And then the Switch lineup was pretty small. I know people were super upset about this. Once you switch Just Dance, Skylanders, Imaginations, Super Bomberman R, and Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. But as the year progressed, there was a lot of stuff that came out.
Yeah.
Wasn't like, you know.
I mean, if you can get over the ports to the system, ports of shit that, if you had a Wii U, you already owned any goddamn way. It's if you can get over that, it wasn't that bad. I can't, so to me, I'm not impressed. But everyone, to each his own. Everyone has their opinions.
So after looking at this, I would argue that the Wii U had a better launch lineup than the Switch.
Yeah, it did.
I mean, Breath of the Wild on the Switch, but
it had more. It had more unique games. It had more. Yeah, they were ports, but they were ports from other systems, not ports from shit that people already owned on the last system. Which I mean, that's basically my only gripe with the. I mean, really, and I know this is gonna sound kind of people are gonna say you're a Wii U apologist. I mean, really, there was no reason for the Wii U to have failed as hard as it did, aside from people helping to hold it down. Because, like I said, I mean, there were games on the system. It had a good launch lineup. Really, what really hurt that system, and it never recovered from it, was that year where nothing came out.
Oh, that was an awful year, yeah.
Like, for literally well, it wasn't an entire year, but it felt like a year. It was like 8 months, nothing came out. And shit that was supposed to come out that spring, that late winter, early spring, got pushed so that they could port it to everything else. And that basically was the nail in the coffin for the Wii U's momentum. And it never recovered from it.
Yeah. I just think that that one of the big mistakes they made was, that direct they had, because it just seemed like, even though that people, they said that stuff was coming out later, it seemed like it was going to be out within the first year, and we had to wait years for some of that stuff.
Well, I mean, a lot of that wasn't because of them. It was literally shit that they were like, okay, look, third parties were like, well, the reason we don't put games on Nintendo consoles is that we can't compete against Nintendo first party shit. Okay, fair enough. Nintendo's like, okay, you're gonna you don't want to compete against our hardware, well, our software. Well, we'll basically stand out of the way and give you like literally a year where you guys can do whatever the fuck you want. And like basically they delayed almost all their games. EA was particularly ratchet. They put out Mass Effect 3, right? For the Wii U at launch, and then literally a week later released the Mass Effect trilogy on everything else for the same price.
Yeah. I think the reason we're seeing so much third-party stuff on the Switch compared to the Wii U,
because the Switch is selling 55 million units. That's why.
That, and I think Nvidia might actually have a part in it, just because a lot of those companies are in bed with Nvidia, and that's the go-to GPU that they optimize for. So,
I think that was true maybe 5 years ago, but now with AMD putting their GPUs in the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, might be changing a little bit.
Well, yeah, next generation, when those two consoles drop, you might see all the support dry up. I mean, the Wii sold a heck of a lot of consoles, and third parties just dumped
Yeah,
absolute trash on the
they
system.
dumped cheap shit to develop that they could basically make a lot of money on, and then take that money and put it towards their next gen games that they put on the PS3 and the Xbox 360.
Yeah,
Um, and I mean, like a lot of the games that are on the Switch, and I know some people are going to get mad when they hear this. A lot of the games that are on the Switch, they had those engines lying around from other shit. Like it's not like they really developed from the ground up just for the Switch. A lot of those games.
yeah,
Um, some of them are well ported. I'm not gonna lie, but it's not like oh my god, you know. So
yeah,
you know, I mean, like I said, I wasn't particularly impressed with the Switch's launch lineup. I know some people were, but I'm like, but all you need, like I said, all you needed was Breath of the Wild, really.
yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what these next consoles do. I think it's just going to be a whole bunch of ports of stuff that are coming out,
Yeah.
and
Well,
so
Microsoft
many
already
things.
said don't expect new games on the Xbox Series X for at least 2 years. Don't expect like exclusive titles just for that console in the first 2 years of the thing. And I'm like, so they're already telling you, like, I mean, that sounds terrible to me.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty bad.
That's like someone saying, "Hey, man, don't expect me to do all. Don't expect, oh, however much you spent on this shit. Don't expect us to do anything cool with this hardware. Uh, you know, in the first few years of life. Which I mean, if you're not going to do anything cool, why come out with new hardware if you're not going to do anything interesting with it? But I mean, I've said this before. I don't think Microsoft really cares at this point. I don't think they give a shit about. I don't. I think they're more worried. I think they care more about getting people to use to sign up for Xbox Series X, the Game Pass and shit like that, than they do about the actual console sold. Because they want that recurrent business model where people keep on spending money over time.
So, anything else you want to talk about as it pertains to launch
Uh,
stuff?
no, I think that's it. I mean, I think we can cover these other topics for Saturday.
Yeah.
The other topics we're going to cover Saturday are what's a GameCube game that we think needs a sequel? What's a game in a franchise? What's a game or franchise you want to get into but just can't? What is your gaming worst nightmare? And what is the most hype game that? What is your most hype game that wasn't even close to fulfilling that hype when you finally played it?
Yeah.
So I think that's a good list. We also have some news stories we'll cover, like shit. Um, I mean, do we want to talk about the Unreal 5 demo? Does anyone
Yeah, we can
care
talk
about the
about that.
Unreal 5 demo?
Well, the thing is, I'm just super skeptical of it because say what you want about Microsoft. I know they're also a really fun company to hate for a lot of people to hate. But the thing is, when it comes to the Xbox Series X, there are people that were actually there to see the console. They were in front of the console. They got to play on the console, and they with Sony, because it was supposed to that demo was running on the PlayStation 5 supposedly. Everything just seems to be too controlled. It just feels like there's too much smoke and mirrors. As it pertains to their console.
Yeah.
So, and
Well, I mean,
as long as
this
as
isn't
far
the
as that trailer looked, it's just can't help but feel skeptical.
Well, I mean, it wasn't even a trailer. It was them running a version of Unreal 5 on apparently. Now, I don't know if this is true because Sony likes to lie a lot. Running that hardware on the uh, the PS5. But the problem, like you said, is that it's kind of like that reveal demo where they were like, yeah, we're going to show you the power of the Xbox One. Where remember when they showed off the Xbox One after they got rid of Don Matrick, and he's like, yeah, Xbox TV this and do this and do that, and like every time he wanted to change, he put his hands in his pockets because he was hitting a switch to signal them to change it over because the technology wasn't there yet. Like that's basically,
And the thing about the Xbox or not the PlayStation 5, the worst case scenario is that they were running it on some kind of high end computer with like predetermined PlayStation parts. The best case is probably they're probably running it on a dev kit. So they have access to various different graphics and features that the consumer model will not have access to.
Yeah, but the thing is, even if they're running it on a SDK, the SDK has to be hooked into a PC. It's not just like the SDK by itself, because they have to do diagnostics and tweak shit in order to get shit to run properly, because they're coding on the fly. So even then, it's really suspect. And I don't know why I don't know why Epic is trying to pick winners and losers in this fight before the shit has started.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't go to to Xbox at least, but.
Well, let's not forget, Epic used to be owned by Xbox, or at least had like a second party relationship with them, and they don't want to jump back into that hole. I don't think.
Okay. So that's weird. I don't know why they just had to say, yeah, this is running on the PlayStation 5. I don't know why they just didn't have just a plain demo being like, yeah, here's our Unreal Engine demo that was going to be running on these next gen systems.
Which runs on everything anyway, because it's Unreal, and Unreal's like a catch-all engine any fucking way. It's like Unity, except a little bit more specialized.
Yeah, just keep it kind of vague. I don't know why you have to, like you said, pick winners and losers.
Yeah, I mean, because like I said, it's about time for Sony to take a bruising anyway, because they got their heads up their own asses with the shit. They got their head up their own asses with the PS4. So
they probably Sony probably came out with a big old bag of borrowed money, saying, "Hey, Epic, promote your engine for our console, so that it can maybe tease the other companies into making us the lead platform."
Yeah.
Next generation.
Yeah, and I mean, let's keep it real. Let's keep it absolutely 100%. Like Microsoft, despite what many people will tell you, Microsoft isn't playing that game this upcoming console generation, because, like I said, Microsoft doesn't care what you're playing on, because at the end of the day, if the game is being developed to also come to PC, they're gonna have to pay royalties to have it be compatible with DirectX.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what are you gonna do? I mean, I don't particularly give a shit, but some people do. So, that's what you got to deal with, folks. Anything else you want to talk about before we wrap things up?
No, I'm just be wary of these Just remember these new consoles. You know, don't get your expectations too high.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can't speak for Kenoshi, but basically, I've just been upgrading my PC.
Yeah, if you're a PC gamer, I mean, you might as well just focus on that.
Yeah,
Um,
I've been upgrading my PC. I'm like, okay, so I've upgraded my CPU, my GPU, um, uh, and I'll be adding like I have 16 gigs of memory right now, and I'm gonna up that. I'm gonna up that to 32. So I'll be good once I get the memory upgraded because that's the last bottleneck left for me to optimize my PC for next gen. And I'm doing it now while shit's on sale. And that should hold me for the next, 4 or 5 years.
yeah,
Um,
the thing is, you can keep upgrading your PC throughout the years, and you know, better, stronger parts are gonna come out. So
yeah,
I don't know, just especially Sony. You know, Sony's been super quiet, super cautious. I remember at the end of the generation, or not at the start of the PS4 generation, Kishida was like, I don't even know why the PS4 is as popular as it is. So that's kind of scary when you think about it.
well, I'll tell you why it was popular because Microsoft pulled out a Magnum and shot themselves in the ass with the Xbox One. And Nintendo cut their foot off. Cut their own foot off. Nintendo cut their left foot off. Not the whole foot, just the front half with the toes. They hobbled themselves with the Wii U.
Yeah. See, it seems like Sony is successful when others are doing poorly, and when others are doing great, and they're not that hot as you seeing with the PS3.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the PS3 eventually did well, but the problem with the PS3 is that, well, you know, uh,
Took them a while to get there though. By the time they surpassed the 360, everybody moved on to the other consoles.
yeah, and it was expensive to develop for. And I mean, really, the PS3 was kind of like a turning point for Sony because it never really did all that well anyway.
Yeah.
Um, like it wasn't like but here's the difference. Third parties never gave up on the PS3. Third parties said "fuck you." Third parties kind of gave up on the Xbox One. Um, like I would say a good 2-3 years into it, they were like, "Fuck this console." It wasn't until like the last third of the Xbox One's life cycle that you saw third parties start to really put some effort behind it.
Yeah.
They gave up on the Wii U within less than a year, like literally 3 months. 3 months they gave up on the Wii U.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. That being said, that's the end of this podcast. Anything you guys want to? Oh, that's right. Oh, okay, Mr. Roboto. I love this. I'll be honest. I love the Switch, but the Wii U gamepad is superior controller design. I agree. The Wii U gamepad, playing games that are ported over to the Switch, you can tell a game was designed for the Wii U gamepad because how it controls on the Switch.
Yeah, there are a lot of games I think that were moved to at least as it pertains to Nintendo, that were moved to the Switch.
Yeah, like Splatoon 2. Splatoon 2, look, I enjoy that game, but it's without the gamepad, that game is not nearly as good as the first game. Like if to put a score on it, the first Splatoon is like a 90, it's a 92% game. Splatoon 2 is like an 84. It's not bad, but it's not like I don't feel the same spark with that game gameplay wise as I did with the original Splatoon.
It loses that gameplay. It loses that gamepad advantage.
Yeah, I mean the game, especially some of the specials that you used to be able to just use the gamepad to aim. Like trying to aim that shit with the map is just stupid. I know they're like, no, it works. No, it doesn't. Stop trying to defend that shit. So he says they did have a lot of ports at launch. That's true, but let's keep it real. Every console in the 7th gen had a lot of ports at launch. Sorry, 8th gen.
Yeah.
I waited until 2014 to buy a Wii U. Oh, that's sad. But the Wii sold a lot, and it didn't have a lot of support, which still confuses me. Yeah, but yeah, it's kind of eh. I mean, I hate to break this to you, but the Wii was the dumping ground for third parties. They would basically take a game that was cheap to make. They would put a little bit of money behind it. It would sell, 500,000, 300,000, but it would make a lot of money because it probably only cost like 10-15% of what a AAA game would cost, and it would make a lot of money that way. And then they take the profit from that and then put it towards their AAA games.
Well, never mind, I forgot what I was going to say.
He says he wanted a Switch just for Breath of the Wild. Well, you got tricked because Breath of the Wild on the Switch is actually it's an unoptimized version of the Wii U game. It's not a very good port of the base game. It's like Twilight Princess for the Twilight Princess for the Wii and for the GameCube, like they run basically the same, except the Wii version is mirrored. Like the map is mirrored because the game, like the controller that you use to attack enemies with is for a lot of people's in the right hand statistically. So they did that to make it more natural when you're attacking and shit, which I don't even notice when I'm playing that game, but some people do. They're like that. They're anal retentive about which hand they attack with. But I mean, the game runs pretty well on both things. It's just a preference. I prefer motion control. Other people don't. I haven't heard this, but I mean, for me, I've had Breath of the Wild crash on me about 4 or 5 times on the Switch, versus 0 times from what I've heard on the
Wii U.
On the Wii U. So it, And here's the thing: if this was a third-party company like Bethesda, I'd be like, typical. When Nintendo's making fuck-ups like that, I get worried.
Going back to the comment about the Wii being a dumping ground. That's what they hoped the Wii U was going to be, a dumping ground.
Yeah, they just put shit on the system and it would sell.
Yeah, but when they realized that it wasn't going to be that, we need to get the hell out of here.
Well, that and the fact that they just they were like, oh, we can put any shit up here, and who cares? He says Sunshine 2, please. Have you played Mario Odyssey? That's basically Super Mario Sunshine 2. For all intents and purposes, it's Super Mario Sunshine 2. I don't like Super Mario Sunshine, but having played Super Mario Sunshine and beaten Super Mario Sunshine, Mario Odyssey feels like a sequel to Super Mario Sunshine. It does not feel like a prototypical Mario game. Mr. Roboto 66 says, I've never been a PC gamer. That's cool. Believe it or not, I used to be into PC gaming when I was in elementary school, because we had a computer lab that had one of those dynamite PCs that people upgraded the shit out of, and we used to play games on that. Yeah. And then, once I got to the point where my family could afford a PC, we got it. And basically Mr. Roboto 66, Super Mario Odyssey is Super Mario Sunshine 2, basically, in terms of gameplay. You don't have FLUDD, but the way you can use your hat in order to platform, it's very FLUDD-esque. Now, see, I like pure platforming in my Mario games. I don't like shit getting in the way of my platforming, so I'm not really that into it. Yeah. And he says he actually preferred the Wii version of Twilight Princess. Yeah, I prefer the Wii version of Twilight Princess because of the motion control. It makes it easier to aim. Fishing has never felt better with the Wiimote and motion control, which I'm surprised they have such terrible... They haven't had a really good... They haven't had a really good fishing segment in a Nintendo Switch game, despite the Nintendo Switch having arguably the potential to have some of the best motion controls we've ever had from a Nintendo console, but whatever. that being said, that's the end of the podcast. Anything you want to pimp out, Kanoshi, before we wrap things up?
And I have a BitChute account. I have one video up there, but yeah, started a BitChute account for certain kind of videos, I guess.
All right.
Anything, yeah. So I also may or may not do a gaming stream on Friday. So.
Oh, that sounds a little ominous. No, I'm joking. That's cool.
Depends on how I feel, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, man, we all got nothing but time on our hands. This is Mr. Red Fox. I'm proprietor of BS Busters. To get in touch with the cast via Gmail, you can reach me at mrredfoxbsbuster@gmail.com or Twitter at Matthew Wesley at Mr. Red Fox 91. That's all lowercase for both of those addresses, both Gmail and Twitter. So you can reach me at those two places. That's the end of the podcast. One more comment from Mr. Roboto66. I think one of the reasons I like Sunshine was because of how difficult it is compared to most every other Mario game I've ever played. I enjoy a challenge. Really? I didn't find Sunshine difficult. To me, Sunshine was... it was unusual. Like, the only hard part in Sunshine was fighting against that fucking camera. To me. That camera was trash. You know, but I mean, everyone has their version of difficulty. Like, I find a lot of... certain 2D fighting games difficult. Not because I'm not good at them, but because I hate, like, Mortal Kombat, I hate having to memorize combos. Because Mortal Kombat for the longest time was all dial a combo in order to do special attacks. It was kind of annoying. So with that being said, that's the end of the podcast. Remember, rate, comment, share, subscribe. Peace, and good night.
Good night, everybody. Good night.
I won't do Jules.